So, present tense. We use the present tense to express habitual actions in the present. So things we generally do, frequently do, or rarely do, and simple facts. In our context, it's about our free time activities, how we spend our free time. There are three categories of verbs. We have are verbs, ere verbs, and ire verbs. For example, we have the verb mangiare, which means to eat. That's an are verb. We have the verb vedere, which means to see. And we have the verb aprire, which means to open. So these are in the infinitives. Let's now see how to conjugate in the present tense. So this is to eat, to see, to open, but how do I say I eat, I see, I open, or you eat, you see, you open? Again, let's put it in the context of free time. So say that I want to say I watch TV. So if I look for the verb to watch in a dictionary, or if I check in my memory, because I've already learned that word, I will get guardare. Guardare. And TV, la TV. What I do, first of all, I need to learn to conjugate in all the 6 people. Io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, and loro. So that's I, you, he, she, we, you all, and they. The first thing I do, I have my infinitive verb, guardare, and I need to chop off the last 3 letters. And I just copy what's left. So, guard, 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 guard. Okay, to say I watch, I simply add an O, guardo. To say you watch, I simply add an I, guardi. To say he or she watches, I add an A, guarda. To say we watch, I add iamo, guardiamo. You all watch, ate, guardate. They watch, hanno, guardano. So basically, the last, what you see after guard is telling me who is performing the action. The O is telling me that I am performing the action. Therefore, I don't really need to say io. I just will say io for emphasis, because the O is already telling me that it is io, that it is I performing the action. The same goes for all the other people. I, in guardi, is already telling me that it's tu. You are performing the action. So there's no need for me to say tu guardi. It's sufficient for me to say guardi, and so forth. Let's take an example of an ere verb. What do you do in your free time? Maybe you want to say I run. So you look up the word to run. When you look it up, you will find correre. And we chop off the last 3 letters as we did with guardare, and once again we copy what's left of the verb. We copy the stem, cor, 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 cor. If I want to say I run, I add an O, corro. You run, corri. He or she runs, corre. We run, corriamo. You all run, correte. And they run, corrono. Now let's try an ire verb. For example, I want to say I sleep in my free time. So I look up the verb to sleep and I find dormire. So it's a third category verb. As before, I chop off the last three letters and I copy the stem. I copy what's left of the verb. Dorm, 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 dorm. Okay, and now I add my endings. If I want to say I sleep, simply add an O, dormo. You sleep, dormi. He or she sleeps, dorme. We sleep, dormiamo. You all sleep, dormite. They sleep, dormono. Now, it appears like you have a lot of endings to learn. 6 times 3, 18 different endings. Now, the trick to learning verbs in Italian is to find patterns. So, don't feel you have 18 endings to learn. Let's see what patterns you can find, and there will be less to memorize. So, you need to be very efficient in the way you learn things. Finding patterns makes less things to study and memorize. For example, if we look at all three categories and we look at io, how do we say I perform the action? Well, what we've done, we've chopped off the last three letters for all of them as always, but the ending is actually identical. We have o, o. So all three are related. Let's look at tu. How do we say that you perform the action? We're adding an I for all of them. So all three of them are related. How do we say he or she is performing the action? Well, when we look at this, we can see that are is the odd one out, but ere and ire verbs have the exact ending e. Let's look at noi. We can see that all three of them have the exact same ending, iamo. Let's look at voi. They're all different actually. However, we can find a pattern because they all end in te, and it's simply are has the a, ate, ere, ete, ire, ite, so sort of related. And finally, the loro, again, as with the lui, lei, are is the odd one out, the black sheep of the family, and ere and hire have the identical ending ono.